Now, breaking news from NBC4.
Now on NBC4 today, breaking news unfolding right now at 5 o'clock. A police officer in Knox County shot and killed in the line of duty.
This is the scene where everything basically started. You can see they're still holding it here in the small village, about 1,000 people that live here in this small village of Danville. The sheriff's office is here. Now, what we do understand is that at some point this officer actually went missing and nobody knew exactly where he was. In fact, nobody even knew where the cruiser was. That's when an all-out search statewide to try to find out exactly what happened here. Eventually, the officer found, shot, and killed. This is the scene once that those officers and deputies decided they needed to get to a point as fast as they could. You can see right down the middle of what happened here in this area. They were going as fast as they could. We do understand that there is a person in custody as well as a woman in custody. So a man and a woman in custody. As to the roles of what they played in this death of a police officer, still yet to be determined. We know that the prosecutor from Knox County was actually out here at the scene for quite some time, as well as BCI, who is now here, the Bureau of Criminal Investigation.
One thing right here, this is a house just off of East Washington Street that is completely taped off. You can actually see a red pickup truck, the door open right now. There are officers surrounding this area, and this is not the only area that's taped off. I do want to show you down the street here. This is near a wooded area where another officer is placed, and then we have a field here where we've got two sheriff's office deputies. We also got Ohio State Highway Patrol here as well. We do not know what is going on at this point, whether these are all scenes or just roped off for evidence.
And Marcus, you've just learned some information about a possible suspect.
Yeah, suspect in custody. We'll get to that person's name. I want to let you know the officer's name first. Thomas Cottrell, officially announced by the Knox County Sheriff's Office. The suspect in custody is named Herschel Jones III. Now, bear with me here. I'm going to actually get his picture up for you. This is the booking photo that we just received from the Sheriff's Office. That is the suspect in this case, now accused at this point of having a role of shooting an officer here in Danville.
The house where the suspect was seen running here on East Washington Street, you can see that it is still blocked off, and there's a highway patrol here and even a red truck with the door open. This is where police say they saw that suspect running. They took him into custody, and they also took a woman into custody. She was later released. I do want to show you a picture of Thomas Cottrell right here. This is from the department's website. We know there's only about 6 or 7 officers in total, so obviously a very tight community.
The cruiser of the dead officer was also discovered. It was towed away and will be looked at as part of the evidence. Now, we had a chance to look through the criminal past of Herschel Jones III, and it is extensive. Released from prison in April of 2015. He was sentenced to 3 years, 11 months in jail for receiving stolen property, as well as illegal possession of chemicals for manufacture of drugs. And we just recently looked even closer in Knox County Court. He was actually just recently investigated for something that happened in October, facing charges on that. Now, let's go back even further. Some of this dates back to 2009, 2008, even 2001. So we're talking about 14 years or so here.
We have, Dwayne. I can tell you tonight at the Danville Police Department, that parking lot is empty. The doors are locked, and certainly a tragic set of circumstances surrounds the death of Officer Thomas Cottrell, a man who left this community much too soon, but an officer who left behind quite a positive legacy.
It takes a big man to decide that's what they want to do for a living and to be able to put that uniform on every day.
Officer Thomas Cottrell, gone but not forgotten. Stories being shared in Danville cementing the positive impact he had on this small town. A Little League coach.
He was great with the kids. He stepped up to coach a baseball team when I couldn't get anybody else to coach, and loved it. He had a good time.
He was a father to a lucky few and protector for many.
I felt very safe. I felt if something happened, I'd go to him and he'd solve it.
More importantly, Officer Cottrell cared about this community.
That's what we as public servants are supposed to do, is we're supposed to serve our communities, serve our people, go out of our way.
I like to think that good outweighs evil, and in this case it didn't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good of a person he was, and it doesn't matter how innocent and that he was.
A community that is asking those questions no one can ever seem to answer and grieving over one of their own men in blue taken far too soon.
This is a very small town here in Danville, population a little bit more than 1,000. Many people knew Officer Thomas Cottrell, and everyone who calls him a friend had nothing but positive things to say. I'll share one of those poignant stories, all new at 6 o'clock. We have team coverage tonight. Ted Hart also in Knox County learning more about this suspect. We'll toss it to Ted.
And this is the home on East Washington Street in Danville where this all started last night. It's just a few blocks from the police station. It was from here also that the suspect's ex-girlfriend called 911 to say that she was in danger and that Danville police were in danger as well.
My ex-boyfriend's out in camo looking to kill a cop. He's got guns on him. He's already beaten me and threatened to kill me.
25 minutes later, sheriff's deputies found the body of Danville police officer Thomas Cottrell in the parking lot of the municipal building. His gun and police cruiser were gone. Herschel Jones was arrested back on East Washington Street about an hour and a half later after police spotted him running from the house.
He was out of his mind on drugs.
John Jones says his brother called him minutes before he was taken into custody by police.
You know, he already had done what he done. He still didn't admit it to me. That's how far out of his mind he was. I think he completely went over the edge. You know, I don't even think he realized cops were outside the house. That's how bad it was.
Herschel Jones has a long history of criminal activity, drug use, and mental issues, according to his brother. John Jones says family members called Herschel's parole officer last week to report that he had guns and was abusing drugs. Jones says that last night his brother was abusing Klonopin, the anti-anxiety medication that he says was prescribed as part of his brother's drug treatment program.
That's the last thing a drug addict needs, something to numb the mind, and that's basically what he was on last night. A whole bottle of Klonopin is damn near what he took, and it just took him out of his mind.
And John Jones says that his brother clearly needed more help than he got from the criminal justice system. Jones says that he's deeply saddened by what happened, and yet he firmly believes that it could have been prevented. Live in Knox County, Ted Hart, NBC4.
Okay, so let's walk through the timeline of this tragedy. The search for the suspected shooter, Herschel Ray Jones, began around 11:20 last night. That's when Jones' ex-girlfriend called 911. Deputies found Danville police officer Thomas Cottrell's body just a short time later. Then this morning around 1:36, they arrested Jones. Colleen Marshall is in the newsroom tonight with more information about who Jones is. Colleen.
Well, this is troubling, Dwayne. Herschel Ray Jones III has a very long, sometimes violent criminal history in Knox County. Most recently, just this past October, he was charged with having weapons under disability, felonious assault, and attempted rape. He has yet to be tried on those charges. We also found out he had been released from prison in April of 2015, less than a year ago.
The best part of Officer Tom Cottrell's legacy were his 3 beautiful girls. Now, we are standing along the banks of the Scioto in front of the memorial dedicated to Columbus's police officer. Tonight, though, it is Danville police officer Tom Cottrell who is being remembered. His 3 girls live in Newark with their mom tonight. I got to sit down with the youngest 2.
He's not here, so it's hard.
14-year-old Brooke Cottrell puts on a brave face as she talks about her dad.
He was the best dad that I could ever have.
The Danville police officer was gunned down late Sunday night.
And that man took something from my girls that none of us can ever give him back.
Cottrell's ex-wife, Anna Montgomery, says he was a great dad, that he loved his girls. 12-year-old AJ didn't want to talk to us on camera, but she sent us that video to show us how great her dad was. Brooke says she couldn't have asked for a better one.
He was always there if you needed him. Like, you could call him and he'd, like, talk you through anything.
Now, 16-year-old Courtney Cottrell couldn't meet with us today. She had CPR training. She is training to be a physical therapist. She wants to help people just like her dad. Reporting from downtown Columbus, Renee LaSalle, NBC4.
Only more than 100 people showed up here at the Danville Municipal Building to remember Officer Tom Cottrell. You could see the candles and the flowers and the words of encouragement and remembrance here on this wall here. I can tell you tonight, in their own words, this community is mourning.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
I've known Tom. I know all the police officers here. I've known him for a long time. He was a wonderful person, great personality, great sense of humor.
He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters.
Know in your heart that this was a good man, a small town man, doing what small town men do. Coaching kids, raising a family, doing his job the way he always has.
He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil.
He spent many nights not even getting paid to do his job and came out and served his community, and we're out here saying thank you.
For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over.
Although we're grieving with you, and we hurt as you do, we're not going to forget what he would want us to continue to do. And that would be to keep smiling, keep working, keep bringing the community together.
Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life.
This crime should never have happened. And the world just got a lot darker. That's all I gotta say.
And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
And there are many messages of condolences on this wall. Perhaps the simplest is that of the writing of a child named Jaden. It says, "Thank you for serving our town. We miss you." Reporting live in Danville, Candace Lee, NBC4.
A day to remember and pay tribute to Officer Thomas Cottrell. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Colleen Marshall.
And I'm Mike Jackson. Officer Cottrell was a graduate of Newark High School in 2000, but he called the village of Danville in Knox County home. He was a proud member of the Danville Police Department. Officer Cottrell was shot and killed while on the line of duty Sunday night. A suspect is arrested and is in jail.
Now, Chopper 4 is flying over Newark right now above the funeral procession from Ohio State's Newark campus to Wilson Cemetery. Police officers from the earliest hours after it became known that Officer Cottrell had been shot to death in the line of duty, calls were coming in from police agencies, deputies, state patrols from all around the country offering their condolences and showing their support. And as we can see today, those calls were followed up with action.
It can happen. It can happen in a small town.
Anytime you see any of our troops or any of our law enforcement have a life taken in a case like this for no reason, just so sad.
Hundreds endured the cold temperatures today in Newark to pay respects to Officer Thomas Cottrell Jr. The 34-year-old Danville police officer was shot and killed last Sunday night while on duty.
We're one big family. Doesn't matter if you're from Chicago, New York, California. We come together as a whole, as a group.
Officers from across the area and even out of state attended Cottrell's funeral. The service was held on the Central Ohio Technical College campus in Newark, where Cottrell graduated from the police academy. His casket draped in a flag as it made its way past mourners and fellow officers in somber salute, many who didn't know Cottrell personally.
I also have a nephew that is a police officer down in Nashville, Tennessee, so it could happen to him.
Along the procession route, flags waved in honor of the fallen officer.
that support us day and night and keep our country safe.
I mean, they have a hard job, but they do it well, and we just wanted to come out and show our support for the police and for the officer's family.
As hundreds stood by, Cottrell was buried at Wilson Cemetery along State Route 13, marking the end of watch for Thomas Cottrell Jr. In Newark, Olivia Fecto, NBC4.